After the disappointment of Canto 2, can anything really bring back one's hope for Limbus Company? Can Canto 3 do the impossible and make me and many others getting into the game for the first time see the true glory of Project Moon? Or will this just be another game that sits in my Steam hell for all of eternity? So I thought I would do the simplest thing and completely break down Canto 3 and see what it does right, what it does wrong, and how, or if, it saved the game for me and others. Buckle in, managers, we're in for a ride. So I will be doing a full breakdown, but first I want to prime you guys to look for something throughout this video. One of the little things I'll be bringing up several times is how Sinclair's main message is around being split between two different worlds. We could see this through his own ego image, and even in Millie's song title, Between Two Worlds. With its realm of light and realm of darkness, and throughout this video you'll be able to notice even more of this duality. After the high of Canto 1 and the low of Canto 2, I had no idea what to expect coming into this Canto. If the people in the streams were to be believed, it would be peak. Had they led me astray, would this redeem the whole game? These were the fears I had coming into Canto 3. As we enter the Canto, we are, well, on Melfi, as our favorite bus driver would call it, living our normal center life, joking and arguing and getting scared into compliance by Virgilis. You know, the normal center life. When we get told we are entering the K Corp controlled section of the city, and immediately we see Sinclair's trepidation. Honestly though, this isn't much of a change in his character. From the time he introduced himself, he was a bit of a scaredy cat. And if he were real, I'd be friends with him, but I'd never expect anything brave from him. Now, normally Sinclair is a bit timid. However, even as you are just casually reading the story, you can feel the fear radiating off this young man. Now, like most things in this game, every time somebody has a moment, soon after, La Creature decides to show up and do her thing. And that does not change here either. After pissing off Virgie by, well, being herself, we learn that K Corp troops are immortal. No. They don't type that, I'm joking. But we do learn they have access to these healing bullets. So no matter how much of any of a beating we give them, they just keep coming. In this sadistic world, the ability to just heal any injury would be amazing. Hell, for those of you who have checked out my old content, just imagine in a Souls game just being able to shoot your ally and heal them. Sort of like the healing bullets in Monster Hunter, but somehow better? This is also where we learn that the big corporations in the game do not care about your woes, as they were separating families at the checkpoint, which is what set Dawn off in the first place. And honestly, I would have done the same thing here, not for the separation, just for how they were doing it. And after way too long of fighting some random guards, this All Might looking guy shows up and demolishes all my sinners. We also catch on to a small bit of shadiness when we listen in on Virgilis and Captain Cleanup, and learn about K Corp's involvement in the area. But this is something we'll have to circle back on. However, we do get a massive clue here to some interesting lore bits, as when we get through the checkpoint, we run into Sadi and F.A. again, this time in full tactical gear, rocking guns and body armor and ready to go. Really loved the makeover they got here. But back to what matters, we learn that K Corp let N Corp through here. And foreshadowing a bit with the K Corp being the healing bullets guys, what good are those for people who don't have human parts? Just saying that maybe K Corp wanted a certain small corporation to be wiped out. But hey, that's just a theory. Wait, never mind. If you guys enjoy Limbus Company, then I'm pleased to let you know that I have joined Amazon's affiliate program, where you can help the channel and get yourself something to show for it. Maybe a book of one of our centers comes from, and maybe something else. Links are in the description. And now back to our Canto 3 breakdown. For now, we finally enter the district proper, and things get weird hella fast. This section is where I really started to ask questions, and the tone shift is almost immediate. We go from the almost sterile looking checkpoint to what could be an ideal countryside, if, well, it wasn't on fire, that is. Also, all the heavy armored fanatics are not doing the Yelp review of the town any favors, but hey, that's just Incorp doing its part for the charm. I'll try to keep it quick. The few things that we get here that are really important are flashbacks, currently what's going on with Sinclair Psyche, and of course, the thing I'm here for in this game, to see what each Canto brings in the form of horror. Have you guys seen Strangers? Us? The Purge? This Canto gives me the Spanish Inquisition meets invasion horror movie vibes, and it's so good. Somehow they make pulling clankers. Well, okay then, I guess that word is too hard R for this style of video. So somehow they make pulling robots out of their homes and burning them to the chassis into a visually horrible thing. The voice over the intercom straight up stops Sinclair in his tracks, and you know that something is getting under his skin. The voice acting, all the way to the way they write his lines, just make it sound so believable. And here is where things start to get good story-wise. Though as we see Sinclair like every one of us at one point when we were in school, we see a younger Sinclair, feeling pressure from his family, his peers, and his social obligations. You see that almost every time he chooses to go against his family. His dad's company gets a good contract that he's supposed to keep secret. Well, he tells his friends at school for some clout. He is supposed to get the newest prosthesis from his father's company, and again, he rebels, not happy with the prospect of removing part of himself. With his extreme fear of losing himself and his fear of losing his father's respect raging inside of him, this is where he needed to sit his father down and have a talk. Either his father would understand, or at least Sinclair would know where he stood in the hierarchy. This, however, is where his whole world started to turn upside down, because he runs into his biggest form of rebellion that he could possibly do when he begins to hang out with a young woman named 𝐸Ⅎ. And guys, I was not ready for the insanity this person brought to the game, I'll tell you that. It's a good thing that another calmer voice was there to give our boy some guidance, or in my opinion, 𝐸𝐸 would have become quite the reality, and we would have two 𝐜𝐸 instead of just 𝐸𝐻. This is where Sinclair really starts to split at home. He sees his family splitting from the warm-hearted people he once knew into mechanical monstrosities that were somehow colder and more distant. His revulsion of the idea of becoming less than human by replacing his humanity is something that drives him to 𝐸Ⅎ. And I mean, none of us growing up had to deal with being turned into cyborgs, but I'm certain all of our parents had some sort of high expectation for us. I mean, right? I know mine did. Never became a lawyer though, sorry mom. Instead, I just argue with people online over whose fictional dad is stronger than the other fictional dad. Oddly, and one of the few things I still don't understand is whenever Sinclair's voice of reason was around, in Damien, 𝐸Ⅎ was nowhere to be found. This I find odd, and if it's mentioned somewhere in Canto 3, let me know, but this is a mystery I could not figure out. If I had to guess, it would be that due to the nature of how the world works, that they are somehow tied to Sinclair's psyche and can only manifest when certain feelings are being felt. I'm probably wrong here, but with the game's use of id and ego as a driving force, it's the best I can come up with at this time. This idea of him being split between two paths, and for some reason it's always two paths with him, keeps coming up. Get the augmentation or don't. Keep his family secrets or get social status. Become a member of his society or rebel and crush it all with 𝐸Ⅎ. And then 𝐸Ⅎ or Damien. Both a form of rebellion. Both a form of being oneself. However, one is being yourself in a destructive way, like a brother who turns to alcohol, or a child who throws a fit and breaks their stuff, while the other is being oneself in a mature way and leading with an almost bridled power. You know you can destroy things, but instead you hold back that power until it's really needed. God guys, I think I'm really starting to like Sinclair. I hope he stays this deep as the game goes on. There are some things I don't understand, like I hinted at earlier with 𝐸Ⅎ and Damon as an example. Another thing I still don't quite understand was 𝐸Ⅎ's ability to see into the mirror dungeons. and how she thought she could pull Sinclair to his 𝐸 persona by doing what it was that she did. Her motivation seemed to be to make him into the version of himself that she saw, but how? By what means was killing his parents and sister as he arrived home going to achieve this? I get the fact that she's supposed to be a fanatical zealot, but I still don't understand the logic. And so you guys know, and can get the jokes out of the way already, I have not read the 𝐸 IDs, nor any of the extra story yet. Maybe after I get through the game, I'll go back and redo a couple. One more thing that I didn't actually write about that I'm just adding in here now, guys, is I also don't understand when Cromer said that she no longer needed the key, that Sinclair was her key. That one still kind of got me in a weird place. But then we also have the heroic sacrifice of 𝐲𝐬 and 𝐓𝐴 to talk about here. And as much as I kind of wrote them off in Canto 2, they did not deserve the treatment that they got at the hands of 𝐓𝐲𝐬 and company, doing the classic "do what we say and the other will live" stick. Alright fellow managers, it is time for the obligatory glaze, as upon entering the dungeon, everything seems to change again. The music starts to swell, and a change overtakes Sinclair, as full of determination the little man starts to lead the charge. I'm not going to lie, this was a pleasant change in his character, as we literally charge through literal mounds of corpses to get to the person that destroyed Sinclair's life. Now for a couple of small gripes that I do have. The first is a pet peeve I have with all games, not just this one, and that is the fact that while I'm kicking the shit out of your boss, you feel the need to stop for a cutscene and tell me, no, I lost. That shit always annoys me. And the bigger one is that after all of Sinclair's changes, after everything he went through, and him getting his resolve, Matt Damon here swoops in and kill steals him like it's a fucking Call of Duty lobby. Like, what the hell, man? However, even with this, we show all of Sinclair's insecurities being literally blown away in one strong moment, as his conviction reaches its highest point, even if that was pretty much at the point of his death. Honestly, K Corp coming in and saving me so that I could pull a share. If I could turn back time. And us all getting back to Melfi were decent enough wind down to the climax that was the end of the dungeon. And hell, Vergilius showing off a bit of his softer side by buying us all kebabs with his own money makes me like him a little bit more than I did when the story started. So that's nice. And there you have it, guys, my breakdown of Canto 3. My thoughts on the surprisingly complex Sinclair and the roller coaster that came with the great storytelling. Don't forget to like the video if it was entertaining, and don't forget to sub. I've been running the whole game live here on YouTube. Hope to see you there. Thank you to our members who keep the lights on and the edits tight around here. And remember, guys, like always, be good to each other. See you in the next video. Peace.